What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and to some more WWE 2K20. And on this video, as we are on the road to the release of the game, we're gonna be talking about the new superstars that are expected to be added to this year's roster, which much like previous years, is expected to be the biggest one yet. Before we get into it though, you guys already know, make sure to elbow drop that like button, and if you haven't, hit that notifications to be fully up to date on all the latest. Anyways, let's get into it. So this is pretty much part 2 of a previous video that I did in which I discussed superstars that are going to be removed from this year's game. So if you haven't checked that one out yet, make sure to do so, as in this video we're going to talk the opposite and discuss this year's new additions. And let's go ahead and start off with the male superstar, and we got a bro, Riddle, who, as you guys know, been making a massive impact in NXT right now, competing in a lot of the NXT takeovers, and the fact that he was signed last year right before 2K19, it's clear that we're excited to see him debut in this year's game. He could have been a great NXT DLC, but the good thing is that we're not getting those type of packs in this year's game. Instead, it's gonna be right off the box in the default roster. Up next, we got Buddy Murphy, who is part of the SmackDown Live roster at the moment, but made a huge impact on 205 Live. For some apparent reason, he was removed from 2K19, even though he was still featured in the brand, and was part of previous year's game. He is expected to be one of the big additions to this year's game. Up next, we're taking it over to NXT UK, and we know they got some amazing wrestlers over there, but as we know, that full roster is probably not gonna make it into the game. I do see Walter making a huge splash in 2K20. Last year, they started adding the likes of Pete Dunne, so it's only right that they continue to add more NXT UK superstars. And up next, we get a man that we cannot forget, and that is Tommaso Ciampa. Last year, WWE Games got a lot of complaints that this man didn't make it into the roster. It almost made no sense. He was the NXT champion after all. As we covered before, reports indicated that WWE Games just couldn't get Tommaso Ciampa to sign the contract and the licensing that was required for him to be in the game. With all the complaints and the riots, I'm pretty sure that they did everything possible to make sure that we get Tommaso Ciampa. And up next is gonna be a bit of a different one, and that is Drake Maverick, who, as you guys know, been chasing the 24/7 championship ever since that title was introduced, which is expected to be in this year's game as well. Anyways, Drake Maverick made his debut in 2K19, but he was only a manager, unless of course we did the glitch, but nonetheless he wasn't an official roster member wrestler. This year they already got the model, so he should be part of that active superstar roster with all the matches that he ended up having this year. And I mean, he deserves it. He's been running a lot for that 24/7 title. Now taking it over to the female side of things, and on a similar situation with Gasolina Vega. Last year she didn't really wrestle as much, so it was understandable that she only ended up being Andrea Ripley's manager, but this year she has been part of major pay-per-views like Evolution and even the Royal Rumble itself and other singles matches, so even though mostly she's been a manager, she has been an active wrestler. If anything, just go right ahead and give her Andrea Ripley's moveset, and I'll make sure to drop a hammer DDT. Up next, we're taking it back over to the NXT UK roster, and we got Toni Storm and Rhea Ripley, who I don't think I need to say much about it, but they have been a major focus of that women's division, not only winning the championship, but also giving us a hell of a rivalry and a couple of amazing matches. And then we got Io Shirai, who made her debut early on this year on NXT, and much like all of the other superstars that I mentioned here, has been making a massive impact. She's been doing amazing with Kairi Sane, giving us some memorable matches with Shayna Baszler, and of course chasing that NXT Women's Championship until just recently she ended up turning heel and continued to be a major focus in the division. And last but not least, we got Nicki Cross. She's even gonna be getting an alternate version of her as part of her own 2K20 Tower story. We're gonna be getting Twisted Nicki Cross, and I'm sure it's gonna be extra crazy. Much like Tommaso Ciampa, the 2K community was going crazy last year that Nicki Cross was removed from the game. when she was already there previously, with Nicki making her main roster debut and even winning tag team titles with Alexa Bliss. It's clear she is one of the hot additions to this year's game. So there it is, guys. That is basically the top 10 superstars that I'm honestly excited to play as in WWE 2K20. Of course though, before ending this video, we do got some honorable mentions of other superstars that I expect to be added, such as please bring back D. Bryan Kendrick, cause she'd have been doing great in NXT and I'm sure they're gonna make a star out of him, much as Mia Yim and Keith Lee. I'm also hoping that WWE games bring back X-Pac, the New Age Outlaws, and Mark Henry. Anyways guys, let me know down in the comments below which superstars do you want to see added into this year's roster. I'm sure I missed a couple here and there, but I did want to focus on the one that I'm most excited and kind of like the most obvious one, so let me know down in the comments below what I missed. If you haven't just yet, hit that notification to not miss any of my coverage, and we're on the road to 100,000 subscribers. Macho T out. Dig it.